It's time. It's time. We're back. UFC bet with me. MMA locker room here with Pick Dawgz. And I'm going to be going over this week's UFC St. Louis card, headlined by Derek Lewis versus Nascimento, and giving you guys my best picks on all the fights and give you guys my best dogs. And hey, at the end of the show, I'm going to probably give you guys another parlay so we can go ahead and cash another one out here. But before we do that, though, let's go ahead and go over last week, man. Last week we did pretty good over here. UFC Brazil 301. The main event went as advertised. Alexander Pantoja won. We went 10-3 on our predictions last week. That's not good enough, man. I'm trying to go undefeated this week, okay? I'm not trying to miss a pick, but of course, we might. And hey, some of these fights, you do have worthy opponents on both sides. So, that's why some of these lines are coming down. So if I don't have a strong pick on the fight, I might just go with giving you a prediction on the fight, not to go the distance, or maybe even the fight to finish, So let's go ahead and get it started, man. But before we do that, I need everybody to comment out there how you guys did last week on your guys' betting card, and who do you guys have already locked up in this week's card? Okay, let's go ahead and get it started. JJ Aldrich taking on Veronica Hardy. It's going to be the first fight of the night. You got Veronica Hardy, who opened up a -150. She's coming down now to a -135. JJ Aldrich, the good thing about her is she's been looking good in her last two fights. If you guys are looking for a dog out there, she has clean boxing out there. She averages about 4-point strikes landed per minute. On her opponent's side, she's averaging about the same thing. The difference is JJ Aldrich does struggle with takedowns, and if she can get taken down to the ground, sometimes her opponent can just lay on top of her and lay some vicious ground and pound. Is Veronica Hardy that type of fighter? We don't know, but she's been looking good in her last two fights in the UFC. She took some time off, came back to the UFC, got a big win as an underdog against Juliana Miller. I knew not to parlay her, Juliana Miller, in that fight. Then she came back and got the win in her last fight too, in a bet that I actually had a little play on. When it comes down to it, I like JJ Aldrich fighting style as of late because she's in there to fight. And if her nose is getting bloody, she's not going to quit. She's going to go out there and still try to finish you in that third round. But I think Veronica Hardy's going to have a little bit more paths to victory in here. I think Veronica Hardy's going to win a split decision. She's the pick in that fight right there. But the money in the lines did come down in that one. So, hey, man, now you guys could even get at a better price if you guys are really feeling that one. Next one taking place, Kevin Jousset, 10-2, taking on Jared Gooden, 23 wins and 9 losses. For the people out there that want some more information on one of these fighters, I have an interview out with Jared Gooden I did about a month and a half ago. We previewed this fight right here and talked about a lot of other things. If you guys want to get some information on that, just type it in on YouTube. MMA Locker Room interviews Jared Gooden out there if you guys want more information on him. Gambling odds, Kevin Jousset, -230 on the books out here. The comeback on Jared Gooden is up +180 out there. I think the line is where it's at for a reason. Yes, Kevin Jousset has looked good in his last two fights. He's a guy from City Kickboxing, averaging about 8 strikes landed per minute, but he's good at the takedowns, and he's one of those guys that's going to mix in those takedowns. Jared Gooden is an explosive striker, black belt jiu-jitsu specialist. He can finish anybody at any moment in time. He has great leg kicks, always looks to counters, but his defense sometimes when he gets hit, he doesn't counter back the same, and sometimes he can crumble up. And this one, the pick, I got to go with the guy that I think is going to win the fight. It's going to be Jousset. I think he has multiple paths to win. I think he wins by decision on this one. Jared Gooden is a real tough guy. He can really go to rounds. Next fight taking place. This one's going to be a good one, folks, a banger. You got Jake Hadley, 10-2, taking on Charles Johnson, 14-6. Okay, the gambling odds, you got Jake Hadley at a -150. The comeback on Johnson's at a +125. This is a fight to where it's been booked for a while. Right when Charles Johnson got his last win, I think he had this fight booked like 2 weeks later with the new contract. Jake Hadley, he hasn't been looking that good in the UFC. I want to say he's like 2-2, and the level of opponents that he won over is not that good. And the people that he lost to, Cody Durden and Nascimento, I want to say. In this one, Jake Hadley does have a path to victory. If he can get the takedowns going, That's be his only path to victory. Could maybe win by sub. But I don't think it's happening, man. I'm going with Charles Johnson, man. He's fighting in front of his hometown in St. Louis. I think he has multiple paths to victory in here. He's a guy that always likes to outvalue his opponent, averaging about 4.5 strikes landed per minute. And on top of it, he's fighting an opponent that's not going to shoot for takedowns. I think Charles Johnson is the best underdog on this week's card. I bet him. I put my money on him already. I think he could even win in third round or by decision. That'd be even another way that you guys can bet it in that way as well. But yeah, I really like Charles Johnson this week. That's going to be one of my underdogs I already bet on this week. So there you go. All right, man, I'm letting it out for you guys. Next fight taking place in the welterweight division. We got a good one, too. Two up-and-coming fighters in the UFC. Trey Waters, 8-1. Man, this guy's tall. 6'5". 6'5", okay? Now watch this. Taking on Billy Goff, 9-2. 5'10", man. Like, same size as me. Dang, man. All right. The gambling odds got Trey Waters at a -160. These odds has been sticking and staying here all week so far. I think they're probably going to stay the same. And here, Trey Waters made his UFC debut against Josh Quinlan. Since then, he hasn't fought. He came from the LFA scene. I seen him fight a couple of times in there. Billy Goff, we made money with him in his last time fighting. I think he was an underdog in there and we cashed on him. In this one, he's an underdog in here as well. I think the jab of Trey Waters is going to be too much for Billy Goff to get past. I can't say I like both of these fighters. I actually like the way that Billy Goff goes out there and fights for your money as a dog. That last fight that we cashed him in, I think he got dropped and then he came back and finished his opponent. He's one of those guys that's going to do that. He's good with wrestling, good with takedowns. He's averaging about 4 takedowns per fight. Trey Waters, he's going to have to stuff the takedowns in here. But I think the length and the reach and the striking of Trey Waters is going to be a little bit too much for Billy Goff to get by. But I wouldn't be surprised if Billy Goff can win in this one. But the pick is going to be Trey Waters. In this one, yeah, I gotta go with Trey. I don't got to, but yeah, I'm just telling you guys what I think. You know, I'm not gonna go back and forth. You know, I'm giving you guys my first reactions and everything. You know, sometimes when you go back and forth, you know, it doesn't come out right. So I'm giving you guys my first predictions, my first thoughts with them. Let's go ahead and keep it going. Next fight taking place. It's going to be a good one in the women's strawweight. We got Tabitha Ricci, a.k.a. Baby Shark, 9-2. Taking on Tisha Pennington, 13-6, a.k.a. Tisha Torres. All right. Now, this fight right here. You got Tabitha Ricci. She opened up a -120. She's all the way up to a -140. I say all the way up just because it's 20-cent line movement. Not high price tag, but the comeback on Tisha Pennington is +120. Both these girls are fighters who kind of resemble the same a little bit. Why? Because their statue's the same. Both about 5'11". The difference is one's 34, one's 29. And they both strike the same, you know, averaging about 4 significant strikes landed per minute. In here, the difference is this, though. One has another attribute that they can add to their game, and that's Tabitha Ricci. That wrestling level on her, she's good at it, man. Averaging about 3.3 takedowns per game. In the cage, man. What are we talking about, man? And when it comes down to it, she's a fighter that's the UFC's been giving her some good matchups and some matchups with opponents with big names out there and decent names in there. So she hasn't been fighting no cans, hasn't been no easy fights at all. Tisha Pennington, she's on a 2-year layoff. Yeah, 2-year layoff, okay? She struggles with takedowns. She can get taken down, but this is the thing. Tabitha Ricci, she's the type of opponent, she's the type of fighter that's going to take you down and not hold you down too long. I like Tabitha Ricci in this one. I think she gets it done. -140. I played her at a -120. Next fight taking place. Banger alert. Esteban Rubics, 12-1. Taking on Terrence McKinney, 15-6. -160 for Rubics, +135 for McKinney. This is going to be one of the fights that I think a lot of people are going to be going back and forth with. The favorite is a favorite for a reason, but the dog is a dog at heart, man. Terrence McKinney's out there. First round trying to put anybody out. But after that first round, he slows down in his shows and his fights. Esteban Rubics, I think he's the more proven fighter in here. I think he gets it done in here. I'm going to go with him to win. I think he gets it done in round 2 or round 3. But yeah, anybody betting on Terrence McKinney, man, that's a nice little underdog in there. But I got to go with the fighter that I think has multiple paths to victory. Not somebody that can just finish somebody real quick and explosive in the first round. Next fight taking place. All right, we got a good one in the lightweight division. Slavokov, Borshchev, 7 wins, 3 losses, 1 draw, taking on Chase Hooper, 13 wins, 3-1. Borshchev's a -140 favorite. Matchup wise, striker versus wrestler grappler. And you got the striker in Borshchev. Okay, look, we made money with him sometimes and we faded him. We faded him last time against who do we have? Black Wolf, I want to say. On this one, I like the underdog, man. I like Chase Hooper, man. He's one of those guys that he's been putting together his striking, improving, but his defense is real suspect. If he gets hit, which he doesn't know how to counter. He doesn't know how to defend. But he's always going for that takedown. He's always looking to finish you too. Jiu-jitsu is what he likes to do. He's trying to get you down to the ground. I think Borshchev does struggle with the takedowns. If he gets taken down once or twice, that might be enough, man. The limbs and everything on Chase Hooper could reach around you real quick, grab you under the neck, and just have you submitted. So I'm going to go ahead and go with the dog on here, man. And on this one, we're going to be eating some Skittles because that's what Chase Hooper's be eating, I think. Skittles or M&Ms or something, man. But let's go ahead, man. We're taking the dog in that one, Chase Hooper. Next fight taking place, big boys in the heavyweight. Robelius Despaigne, 5-0, representative Cuba, taking on Waldo Cortes-Acosta, 11-1. All right, Robelius Despaigne is up to a -225. Comeback on Costa, +185. Robelius Despaigne made his UFC debut, knocked out his opponent, I want to say, in less than 30 seconds. That's how he's been doing everybody on the local regional scene. He's one of the new prospects that the UFC signed. He knocked out everybody in the first round, and I want to say in less than 2 minutes. I had a bet on him last time to win in the first round. This one, I played him when he came out at a -160. Costa is a good boxer, but he's nothing special. I think Robelius is going to knock him out in the first round. Next fight taking place. Good one, man. I mean a good one. Featherweight, Sean Woodson, 11-1-1, taking on Alex Caceres, a.k.a. Bruce Leroy, 21 wins, 14 losses. The comeback on Sean Woodson's a -195 now, up to a 200. Comeback on Bruce Leroy, +170. All right, man. The boxing, I think, on Sean Woodson is going to be enough to win the decision on the scorecards. But if Alex Caceres can get this guy down, I think he can submit him too in here. That's his path to victory. I think this is going to be a highly explosive striking match with two fighters who wants to go out there and show you, hey, I'm a martial artist and this is how I fight. I played Sean Woodson at a -190, but this is one to where I feel pretty confident in it. I think he's been putting everything together in the toolbox, but I like both these fighters. I made money with both of them, and, it's just, that's how it goes in MMA. All right, man. Next fight taking place in the lightweight. Matias Rebecki, 19-1, taking on Diego Ferreira. Matias Rebecki's up to a -425. Diego Ferreira, man, we haven't really been seeing what's going on with him lately, man. He's fighting, then he's not. But when he was on about 2-3 years ago, he was giving us good matchups and stuff. Matias Rebecki is a guy that's usually a big favorite in his fights. The UFC's pushing him in here. He's up to a -425. I think he opened up at like a -350 out there. Averaging about 5.61 strikes landed per minute. And the takedowns is good too. Averaging about 4 takedowns per fight. So I actually think Rebecki could finish him inside the distance. That's what I like in this fight. I'm going to go with Rebecki wins inside the distance. Next fight taking place, man. We got a good one in the light heavyweight. All right, Carlos Ulberg, 10 wins, 1 loss, taking on Alonzo Menifield, 15 wins, 3 losses, 1 draw. Ulberg's up to a -270. Alonzo Menifield +220. Okay. Talented kickboxer striker, that's Ulberg. Averaging about 7.29 strikes landed per minute, but he's a kind of green fighter out there. Training at City Kickboxing with Izzy Adesanya and Alex Volkanovski. He is learning from some of the best, but he doesn't have the best competition out there to be sparring with every day and putting together his tools and learning other methods to win. Alonzo Menifield, man, this guy's like 3-0, 4-0. I want to say in his last 4 fights he's been turning around. Ever since he's been training with Pat Barry, seems like they got something going over there. But he's a fighter too, to where he doesn't throw a lot of strikes. I can see Carlos Ulberg just peppering him up, playing it smart, keeping his range, keeping the distance, and trying to finish him maybe late 3rd round, This is one of the fights where I do think the dog has some bark in him. And I don't think that the line should be all the way up to this. But I do think Carlos Ulberg gets this done in here. And like I said, I think he could win by third round finish or else by decision in that one. All right, man. But before we go on to the next fight, man, I need everybody to go ahead and put in the comments below. What are you guys betting on this week so far? We went over a few fights. Before I go over this next one, I need you guys to let me know what you guys are betting on in the comments below. Go ahead. Type it up. All right. I see now. I see you guys got. But who do you got in this next fight? Because this one's a good one. And got everybody torn about it in the MMA community. Nursan Ruziboev, 34 wins. And how many? 8 losses, 2 draws, taking on Joaquin Buckley. 18 wins and 6 losses. Opening odds got Joaquin Buckley a -150 favorite to come back on Ruziboev a +125. Joaquin Buckley, ever since he stepped up to the welterweight division, been as advertised. Explosive fighter, averaging about 4 strikes per minute. Mixing in the takedowns too, showing, that he's just not a one type of fighter out there. But he's that one type of fighter out there that could put your lights out at any minute, man. Has some of the most explosive and viral knockouts in the UFC. What he did to Impa Kasanganay, it just ain't even right. Go ahead and look it up. But in this fight, man, you have one fighter who was calling for this fight, Joaquin Buckley. Why? Because it's in his backyard, his hometown, St. Louis. He said, hey, Dana, I don't care who I fight. Just get me on this card. I need to fight in my hometown. It was a UFC press event, a UFC 300. I think he stormed up there as the media and even asked Dana White, hey, do you got an opponent yet? They didn't have an opponent for him. He wanted to headline it. He didn't get that. What'd he get? He got Ruziboev. Ruziboev, man, a talented fighter. Just had a fight with Cedric Dumas a couple of months ago, less than 2 months or so, at 185. A fighter that fought at welterweight before. Now he's stepping down to fight at this. Why? Because he wanted to fight in here. He just fought, I want to say, in his backyard in, Jersey City, I want to say. This fight right here, man, Ruziboev been looking nice. But Buckley, the fight IQ and the fight resume on him, I got to go with him in this fight, man. The explosiveness, too, the finishability. Ruziboev, the height, the reach might give Buckley problems, but I think Buckley can go ahead and, short up that distance and range with nice little head work and get the KO. So I'm gonna go ahead and take I'm gonna take the favorite in this one, man. I do think Ruziboev does have a path to victory if he can go for takedown after takedown and make this a boring fight, a wrestling match. That would be his easiest path to victory on here. If he stays on the feet, which he's been doing so far. In all of his fights so far, he's been staying on the feet with his opponents. He hasn't been going, for takedowns. His last fight against SD Dumas poked him in the eye a couple of times and then ended up, they called it a KO because, he ground and pounded him after that, But this is a fight on the co-main event spot. I think it's not going the distance. That would be your best bet to play this fight. If you guys really wanted to just get the most solid pick for this fight. But I'm going with Joaquin Buckley, man. Like I said, I think he's been as advertised at the welterweight division, and I think he can get the takedowns and maybe win by a KO late round or even early round. So hey, man, as you see, I think the favorite is warranted in that fight. Next fight. Man, heavyweights going on. Big ones. Derek Lewis, 27 wins, 12 losses, taking on Rodrigo Nascimento, 11 wins and 1 loss. Derek Lewis is up to a -160 favorite to come back on Nascimento, +135. Let's talk about how these guys match up. Derek Lewis, I think he's been fighting for a while now in this weight class, in this division. And he got some notable wins and some notable fight experience over a lot of fighters. I usually always try to find a way to go against Derek Lewis. And sometimes I win. Sometimes I don't. I think more often I probably won. I don't really know at this point. But I think I'm getting to that point of taking him out of that category, okay? I think. Nascimento on the other side. Made money with him a couple of times. But the couple of times that I did make money with him he didn't beat nobody who was worth, me jumping up and celebrating too much. And I did pay like a high price tag for him. I think it was like a minus 160, minus 170 on there when I won with them. I usually always try to find a way to go against Derek Lewis. I kind of like Nascimento. His strikes, he's going to be the one with the more value, averaging about 4.6 strikes per minute. Derek Lewis is going to have the power, that one punch power that can put you out. But don't everybody just have like one punch that could just put you out? No. All right, man. I think I'm going to do it, man. All right. I'm done going against Derek Lewis in there, man. I'm done. And I think Derek Lewis wins. I do. So I'm picking Derek Lewis to win, folks. It's my first time. I want to say maybe first or second. Yeah, I want to say, man, it's probably my first time ever going with a Derek Lewis pick. Nothing against him. He usually wins by KO. Of course, that would be the way that you guys want to bet it out there to get some better odds on it instead of going from a minus 160. Probably get like a minus 110, plus 105, because that's the way that he wins. But then again, Nascimento doesn't impress me too much on the feet, and I've seen him fight, and that's the reason why. This level opponent that Derek Lewis is fighting right here, he should get that highlight KO. He should. So I'm going with him in this one, folks. And trust me, man, right when this fight got announced and the odds started coming out earlier on, like 3 weeks ago, I started looking at Nascimento real quick, right? Real quick. Because I'm like, oh, yeah, Derek Lewis, automatic go against. And, I can't do it fully fledged in this one, okay? Stay tuned, though, okay? Stay tuned and follow us on Twitter and see. I might change my mind by the end of the week if I see something I don't like. Who knows? But let's go ahead and go over the picks and the predictions for you guys to get you guys some money. For the locker room, I'm sorry. For the bulletproof lock parlay, we're gonna go ahead and go with well, let me get you guys my best dog. My best dog on the card is gonna be Charles Johnson at plus money. My best pick in there is going to be Sean Woodson at a minus 190 on here. My fight of the night is going to be the Esteban Rubius versus Terrence McKinney. And then my parlay, take Despaigne and take Ulberg right there. All right, that's my bulletproof parlay for you guys. All right. MMA locker room here, part of Pick Dawgz. UFC bet with me. Let me know in the comments below exactly what you guys want to see next week. And hey, who you guys are shopping for. And let us know exactly who you guys are betting on and where we can get our money at too. If you guys win, I'll shout you out next show. MMA locker room here, part of Pick Dawgz. UFC bet with me.